Guys.
Hey!
Calm down. Calm down. Right, can we all please
Go back to bed. Hey. Just leave him.
Alright, we're all gonna calm down now.
No more silly birdies.
You fell anyway.
Koshi.
Oh, it's okay, shit.
Stop it. Come on, stop. Stop. Hey.
Koshi, you can do this. Come on.
Who's in the corner?
Hey,
Hi, I'm Cockatiel Crazy, and today I want to talk to you about night frights. What you need to look out for with them, how you can deal with them, and as much as I know about them, I'd like to share with you. I've done a lot of research into this, and I've had a lot of experience with it. Cockatiels in particular get night frights very easily. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but they just tend to be prone to getting them more than most other birds. That does not mean other bird types cannot get them, because they can. Any bird can get a night fright. So, what is a night fright? As the name suggests, it is a spook in the night, and basically what happens is, in the wild, these guys would just fly out of their trees and they would just land somewhere they think is safe. They can't do that in a cage. They're stuck. So they panic. Ultimately, a night fright, it's a birdie panic attack. That's as simple as that. They flap around on the floor and they can do some horrendous damage to themselves. You know, what can you do to prevent it? So I strongly recommend getting a red nightlight. Red light has a very long wavelength. This means it will not disrupt your bird's sleep. Unlike blue light and white light, they have very short waves, and this can affect the sleep of your bird. I sleep in the same room as my birds, so what you see is what I sleep with. I can't make the room dark enough at the moment, it's not night time. I will put a picture in to show you what I sleep with, and I have no problems sleeping in the same room as them with a red light at all. I have tried other lights, and blue light is the absolute worst. It drives me insane, so I can't imagine what it would do to them. Some people will cover up their cages, and sometimes that's fine for your bird. I personally can't stand doing it, because a night fright can be caused by literally anything that will spook your bird. It's something very unexpected happens and it just sets them off. Also, sometimes on really rare occasions, night frights are caused because they slip off their perches. They usually sleep on one foot. So just occasionally, and it is very rare, they may lose their footing and that causes a night fright. I also believe that sometimes they will get nightmares and that will scare them too. that is just an opinion. I'm not in their little heads, so I can't say if they do or don't get nightmares, but I believe it's possible they can get nightmares. But the most common thing is lights, shadows and noises. And also, if one bird has a night fright, it's going to set the others off. Highly likely it will just set the others off, because if one's scared, there is a danger and they all want to get away from it, but they can't, so they're all flapping on the bottom of the cage and they cannot get away from whatever's a potential threat. So desensitizing your bird to a night fright is key. So if you're in a noisy area or lots of horns are honking, you need to be able to get your bird exposed to that in a safe way. Don't just get someone to pull right up when you're driving and just bash their horn, because you are going to give your bird a heart attack. But you need to desensitize them slowly. So from time to time, just knock something or make a loud noise randomly. You know, like I will sit here and I will suddenly go beep. You see he's perked up and he's thinking, and you can see Tenchi in the background, she's thinking, so you go beep. You see, little noises like that to begin with, just enough, it makes them sit up, it makes them go, oh, what was that? You know, that was random, I wasn't expecting that. And then you can build it up. You know, if you're playing with your bird, then clap your hands. You know, make a little bit of a thing with it. Make them feel like it's a bit of a game. And then they get desensitized to that sort of sound. You know, you can play car horns beeping on the telly, and you can increase the volume little bit by little bit, so they get used to that noise. You see, they don't like it. Shaking of the head, they don't like it. But the point is that you're desensitizing them to different sounds, random sounds, things they're not expecting. It's all about what you're not expecting. So that is my advice for keeping them. You know, do the hoovering around them. Just make noises. That's as simple as that. Just make a load of noises and increase the volume of those noises a little bit by a little bit. You know, don't go straight in full whack, because like I say, you give your bird a heart attack, and that is just stupid. So yeah, desensitizing your bird. That's as simple as that. What I find myself to help with them when they're having a panic attack, some people will say don't get them out the cage, leave them, calm them down, talk to them, you know, put the lights on, reassure them. That's all good and well. I completely agree with that. I personally get mine out, because he likes to sit on my shoulder, yes, and I sing to him, and that calms him down. So for me, getting him out works. Tenchi, my white cockatiel, she will come out the cage, she'll do a couple of laps around the room, she'll have a little sit and a little rest. I talk to her, I reassure her, but because she's in her head flown away from that potential threat, she feels better, because now she feels like she's done something to get away from the threat. Yuki, my yellow cockatiel, she's my little snuggle monkey, and I get her out and she sits and she just snuggles right up to my neck, and I just cuddle her and reassure her. Now I wait a good 5, maybe 10 minutes depending on how bad they've had a panic attack, and I will put them back as soon as I can see they are 100% calm. I will turn the red light up because it's on a dimmer switch, which allows a little bit more light around the room so they can see what's going on, and I will talk to them as I'm getting in bed, and I will just listen to them and try and see if I can see if they're still panting a little bit, or you know, if they're just calmer. I mean, if he whistles back, I know he's okay. Yuki will occasionally just squeak at me, and that's perfect. And Tenchi just tends to bug him, and then I know she's 100% fine. So, with the panic attacks too, the night frights, you have to deal with them as soon as you possibly can. Soon as you hear that first flap, you need to get your birds calmed down. They can do an awful lot of damage to themselves, and it is so important that you prevent as much damage as possible. Now, this damage can be anything from a natural reaction to a potential predator or a potential threat, and sometimes even just having a night fright is they drop tail feathers and they can drop flight feathers. Now obviously if they drop too many and they drop blood feathers, then you're going to end up with a problem. I'll get into that in a second. Next, they can break their wings. So if you've got a lot of stuff on the floor of your cage, you need to get it out before you put your birds to bed, because if they do have a night fright, they need room to flap so they're not bashing their wings on stuff, because they can break them, they could dislocate them and just cause an awful lot of damage to themselves. At the worst case scenario, you guys don't want to hear this, but this is absolutely the worst case scenario, they can give themselves a heart attack. So this is why it is so important to calm your birds down as quickly as you possibly can. So what do you do if they've hurt themselves? Well, first off, you need to assess the damage. Have they dropped all of their feathers? Have they dropped just a couple of feathers? How much blood is on the cage? How much blood is on their wings? You need to assess it. So the best things you can do, if you don't have access to blood stop, and I'll stick a little picture in, then you can use flour or bicarbonate of soda. Now you need to sprinkle a little bit of this on where it's bleeding, and this is only if it doesn't stop bleeding straight away. Obviously you need to give it a little bit of time depending on the severity of the wound, but you need to give it a little bit of time to try and stop by itself. If it doesn't stop, then use your blood stop or use a little bit of flour, bicarbonate of soda. It's the easiest thing to do, and monitor it is the biggest thing. You need to monitor it, make sure your bird's not going to be picking at it, and make sure that it's not bothering the bird. If the bird has bashed its wings in really badly and you find there's a lot of blood everywhere, then you obviously need to go to a reputable avian vet as soon as possible. But if you do not have access to one straight away, then you need to try and keep your bird calm. You need to try and keep that wound clean. Hi, this is just me from the future. Just thought I would drop in a picture of something that Yuki did when she had a night fright once. She did drop all of her tail feathers. It was scary as hell, and she went straight up to the vet as soon as I possibly could get her up to the vet. she's absolutely fine. This did happen a few years ago now. She's about 5 now, but she's absolutely fine. She healed up really well and really quickly. And yeah, trigger warning, there is a little bit of blood, and you know, I just thought I would drop the picture in for educational purposes, just to show you the amount of damage that they can do if they have a night fright. So please be careful. Like I say, now I've got the red light, I barely get any night frights at all, and they're only minor ones. So yeah. So do not soak the wound. You'll make it worse. Make sure it stays dry and clean and clear. So obviously no seed on it, and no bits of bedding, any dirt, any poop that might have got on it, anything like that. Keep it nice and clear until the morning. Night frights are incredibly stressful for not only them but for you as well. They are horrendous to watch, and I mean, I'm so grateful that I found out about getting a red light, because I've gone from maybe 2 to 3 a month to 2 months, and now I'm getting like maybe 5 a year, and they're only minor ones because they can see the entire room. So what can we take away from this video? All birds can get night frights, teals especially get them, so you need to be careful when you choose to get a teal, and you need to be aware of a night fright. What can you do? Well, there are a few options. You can cover your cage, you can use a red night light like myself, and you could even play a little bit of ambient noise in the background, really quiet, just to cover up any random noises. But firstly and foremost, you have to desensitize your bird as much as possible. As soon as you've desensitized them, then you're going to find the night frights are reduced a lot. If they hurt themselves, you need to first off assess how much they've hurt themselves. Obviously, if they've hurt themselves a lot, you need to take them straight to a reputable avian vet and get them checked out. And you need to make sure that if they're bleeding, you monitor that, and if they don't stop bleeding, you need to intervene. You can get bird first aid kits, you can get blood stop. There's lots of pieces out there. So thank you very much for watching my video. I hope it's been very educational for you. I hope I've given you a bit more of an insight to birdie night frights, and I just hope it's been helpful for you. Again, thank you, really appreciate it. This is little Yuki, who you haven't seen throughout the video yet because she's been sitting all nice and quietly. She says goodbye, Sakoshi says goodbye, Tenchi says goodbye, and again, thank you. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope to see you again in my next video, which I should be posting quite soon. And yeah, if you've got anything that you would like me to go over, if you've got any questions for me, then feel free to chuck them in the box, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Obviously, I might not be able to go through absolutely everyone, but I will definitely be reading a lot of them to try and get the best ones that I think, you know, are more relevant to the video. But like I say, if you've got anything you'd like me to go over, just drop it in the box, hit the subscribe button, like it, dislike it, I hope you don't, but it's up to you. And like I say, I hope to see you again in the next video. So goodbye from my little Yuki, and little Sakoshi is just down here, and Tenchi is just on the side there. And we all say thank you. Take care. See you later.